Now it's time to review the Artlantis functions and settings. As we already mentioned, Artlantis is a rendering application able to communicate with most of the 3D modelers. Any model saved in one of these popular formats like 3ds, FBX, DWG, OBJ, or SKP can be opened directly in Artlantis. There are dedicated export plugins too for Rhino, ArchiCAD, SketchUp, Revit, and Vectorworks. They can be downloaded from the Downloads page at artlantis.com. Plugins export the 3D model directly in the Artlantis native file format, which is ATL. The transferred 3D geometry generally includes the textures, the position of the camera, and that of the sun. Once the 3D model is open in Artlantis, the preview window displays it in global illumination and in real time. Any movement of the camera will generate an automatic refreshment of the preview in order to highlight the changes and provide you an instant and high-quality visual feedback about the changes. If you need an even more accurate preview, use the Refine Preview function. It will generate a second refreshment of the window with a higher precision. You can choose between different options for the preview. One of them is the Auto Switch OpenGL mode. This means that in the moment the camera moves, the preview will be automatically displayed in OpenGL, and when the camera stops, the scene is refreshed again in global illumination. This could be a comfortable setting. Sometimes you may need to freeze the lighting of the scene and have a permanent OpenGL display. The same list has this option too. The other two modes, the block and surface display, concern the navigation mode while the scene remains continuously in global illumination. Just a reminder, the size of the preview window can be managed with these buttons. The proportions of the preview are dependent on the size of the final rendering. To launch a rendering, we'll use the camera icon up here, but before doing that, we'll need to set the rendering parameters. This wheel icon at the right side of the Perspective Inspector will open the dialog for these parameters. Here, in this dialog, you can set the size of your final rendering in pixels. That will result in a certain printing size, or you can change these dimensions in relation to the resolution. You can also set the anti-aliasing to smooth the edges. In the rest, you will find the settings for the engine itself. If you're confused or you want to go faster, use the presets above. The first group is about the lighting of your scene. In our case, we'll choose exterior. The second group of presets is about the quality of the rendering. Choose medium for good quality in a reasonable time. If you go for speed, the rendering will be calculated in the shortest time possible. The quality option will require a longer calculation time and produce the best quality image. You may note that at every change the settings are automatically reorganized by Artlantis and adapted to the chosen option. Just to come back to the size, the preview will be always stretched according to your rendering size proportions. As soon as we close this dialog, the preview will also be refreshed and the new settings will be applied. It will always provide you reliable and real-time feedback of the changes. Being displayed in global illumination, you can be confident about the quality of your work even before launching the final calculation.